It's so good to see y'all. I'm so glad that you're here. Um, I would love to know where you're calling in from. So type in the chat where you're calling in from. My name is Brian Dixon. I'm coming at you live from just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'd love to hear where you're calling in from. This is going to be very interactive. This really is a class to show you how to write your story. So I'm really honored that you're here. I want to make sure that you get a lot of value. We're going to be just over an hour. So let your people know that you're here because your story matters. I sent a text message. Some of you got that text message. And in that text message, I said, your story matters. And I truly believe that you have a story of hope to share. And my passion is helping you write that story. Figuring out how to write that story is why we're here. So you made it. You're in the right place. We have almost 400 people that have registered for today's training. But if human nature is as human nature often is, there'll be a small group that will actually show up. So the fact that you showed up live with me right now really matters. And I'm really grateful that you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, let me say hi to some people in the chat. Welcome. Kathy's here. Priscilla's here. Okay, Kathy from Eastern Washington, Priscilla from Minnesota, Amber from Arkansas, or Arizona, I guess, right? AR is Texarkana. Linda from Virginia. Carrie is from Michigan. Welcome, Molly from Missouri. Nicole from Oregon. I love the spelling of your name. That's so fun. Welcome, everybody. Tina is here from Rochester, New York. A Maui girl. Who's Maui girl? Type your first name in the chat. Maui girl's here from Hawaii. Let's see, where are we? Welcome, everybody. You made it. You made it. You're in the right place. Lori made it. She's here. Brandy's here. Welcome. Hillary is here. There we go. Marie from Maui. Marie from Maui. That's so fun. My name is Brian Dixon. I'm so excited that you're here because you have a story. You have a story that you've been living, and now it's time to write it. It's time to share that story. So I'm going to show you in this training how to write your story. I'm so glad that you're here. I even have a bonus I'm going to give you at the end of this training, so definitely stick around for the full training. I don't like to be rushed. I don't know about you, but I don't like to be rushed. If you don't like to be rushed either, just type me in the chat. Type ME in the chat. I don't want to be rushed. I think good things take time, right? Good things take time. I made artisan bread for the first time on Saturday. Actually, I put it together on Saturday night and I let it rise overnight, and I made it on Sunday morning. It was the first time I've ever made bread before. I don't know if you're a bread person, but it was so good. But here's the thing. It takes time. It takes time. Good things take time. And so I'm going to take time today. I'm not in a hurry. And so that means we're going to be an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour. So if you have something coming up, I want to encourage you, but also kind of challenge you. Make this a priority. Listen, every day there are concerns and worries of the day. But what if today was the day that you said, I'm actually going to take my story seriously enough to be fully present for an hour? Would you do that? Would you be willing to be present so I can slow down and really teach well today? If you're willing to slow down, type slow in the chat. Just type the word slow in the chat. If you're just tuning in, I'm so glad that you're here. I really am live. And I just want to kind of set the frame of our conversation today. It really is a conversation. I have the chat loaded up right in front of me so I can see what you type. Unfortunately, I won't be able to hear your voice or see your face because we have a lot of people that are planning on attending today. But I want you to know that I'm a real person. I'm really here live with you, and that you have a story to share, a story that's worth sharing. And in order to do that, it might mean we need to slow down a little bit and take the time. Okay. Is that worth it? It's worth it, right? To take the time. I'm so glad that you're here. Oh my goodness. There's almost 60 people here. This is so incredible. Wow. Wow. Amazing. I see some familiar faces. A couple of things real quick as we do this training. The first thing is that I do have a free bonus that I'm going to be giving away at the end of this training. So stick around until the end, and I'm going to give you like a little secret code at the end so I know that you're with me the whole time. Okay? Number two, if you want the recording of this training, I don't normally send out the recording, but I want you to be fully present. I kick out all the AI note-taking robots. I don't like robots. I don't know about you. I'm not a fan of robots. I want real people, right? Are you with me? If you want real people, type real. I want real people here. So yeah, type real in the chat if you're with me. Listen, AI is taking over so much of our life. It doesn't have to take over a call like this, right? So yeah, if you would like the recording of this training so that you can slow down and that you can be fully present, here's what I'd like you to do. Number one, I'd like you to put your email address in the chat. Just find that chat. If you're just tuning in, I'm so glad that you're here. If you like the recording of this training that I'm going to walk you through over about the next hour and a half, put your email address in the chat. Awesome. I love it. Thank you. Welcome everybody. Yeah. I really want to go slow because I think the slower something takes, the more valuable it is. And I want to build a relationship with you because my mission here on this earth is to help Christian women write their story and publish their book. Now, you're allowed to be here if you're not a Christian woman, but that's really my focus of my heart and who I help, is helping Christian women write their story and publish their book, because I truly believe that you have a story to write. But sometimes you just need a little encouragement, you need a little direction, maybe a little bit of a kick in the butt to move forward. Because this is the day. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day for us to get this started. So are you ready? Are you ready to get started? Are you ready to finally discover how to write your story? If you're ready, type ready in the chat. Awesome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah, I'm gonna take my time. And so if you're in a hurry and there's other things that are more important, this might not be the call for you. I know that there's a lot of information online and a lot of bells and whistles and things that distract us. But I have found that your story really is, it's sacred. And so if you allow me the grace and the space to slow down a little bit and have a real conversation with you, I really appreciate it. Is that okay? Type okay if that's okay. Is that okay for us to slow down a little bit, for us to be present? Amazing. Awesome. I'm so honored that you're here. If you haven't introduced yourself in the chat, go ahead and type in your name and where you're calling in from. My name is Brian Dixon, and I'm calling in from Charlotte, North Carolina, actually Matthews, which is a suburb of Charlotte. Today is my wife, Julie, and I, it's our 24th wedding anniversary. Isn't that amazing? 24 years today. She and I work together. We run this little company called Hope Books and Hope Writers. And yeah, it's funny. You know, I think when you do what you love, there's no reason to take a vacation. You know, when you find something that you really love doing, of course you're working your anniversary. And so I'm so grateful that you're here, that you took the time to be here, because I want you to hear one thing today. And the one thing I want you to hear is that your story matters. Your story matters. In fact, I want to challenge you a little bit on this call today, on this training today, to engage with me, to interact with me, to type in the chat. So if you haven't found the chat yet, it's usually like you hit more and then chat. It looks like most people have been able to find it. I would love if you would type in the chat, my story matters. My story matters. Because I think that there is a world, both in and out of the church, that tells Christian women specifically that their story doesn't matter. And I want to be, if I'm the one Christian guy in your life that tells you this, I want to tell you your story does matter. It does matter. Your story can transform somebody else's story. Your story can help set somebody else free. I believe that you sharing your story is actually a fulfillment of the Great Commission. How cool is that? And so that's why I'm here. If this isn't resonating with you, you're like, this isn't my guy. It's cool. Like you can hop off. But if this is really resonating with you, if you're like, that's what I needed to hear, that this is really my place, just type me in the chat. This is really what I needed to hear. I needed to hear that my story matters. I needed to know that I have a story that is worth sharing. That's who I love working with. Absolutely. I see a lot of me's in the chat. Amazing. I know we're not a good fit for everybody, but we might just be a great fit for you. So I'm so glad that you're here. Okay. If you haven't yet and you want the recording, put your email address in the chat. That way I can make sure I send it to you, because I don't like just sending it to people who weren't with us. But I also, as a teacher, I want you to be able to be fully present and not feel like you're having to take notes on every single little thing. So I do send the recording, but generally just to people who are here live. Okay, so put your email address in the chat, and then I'm going to ask you to do something really weird. I'm going to ask you to like play along with me, like treat this like a class rather than like a movie. Okay. So this isn't like a movie that you just sit back and watch passively, but treat it like a class that you're actually engaging in and taking notes and being active. So I'm looking for passive, or I'm looking for active rather than passive. So if you're willing to play along, to maybe be challenged a little bit, to be encouraged, you're going to get a lot more value from this training together. So I'm not in a hurry. I've got over an hour to be with you. So we're going to take the full time, because I believe that your story is sacred. Your story matters, and that you really being present, even if it means being a little late for whatever the next thing is. You know, the thing is, every day has enough troubles of its own, right? Every day has a lot of care and concern, and there's always something else that could be distracting you from writing your story. Don't let today be another day of distraction, right? In fact, if you felt like you've always wanted to write your story, but you've been delaying writing your story because maybe you feel like things have been really busy, you've had a lot on your plate, there's responsibility for family and for home and work and ministry, and it's like you just keep putting off writing your story, I want you to type the word delay in the chat. If you feel like you have delayed writing your story, just type delay, DELAY, type delay in the chat. If you're like, you know what, I really have delayed writing my story. Yeah, I'm really with you. I'm turning 48 in a couple weeks, and I've now published 6 books. I've worked with traditional publishers. I've self-published, and I also work with Hope Books now. My newest book, 6th book, is coming out in August. It's called Sundays with Nanny, and it's about the power of a praying grandmother. And I just want to tell you that one of the most powerful things that you can do in your life is to write your story. I had the privilege of writing my grandmother's story, and it just means the world to her. And to think that there's someone on this call that has delayed writing their story, it just kind of breaks my heart a little bit. And so I want today to be the day that you decide to write your story. So if you know this, really, I just need to stop delaying and actually get to work and actually write my story. Instead of delay, I want you to type today in the chat. Today. If, especially as you've gotten older, I mean, I'm approaching 50, and I just think about my peers who have never written their story. They've never written their story. And to go to the grave with your song still in your heart is, I just think it's a tragedy. At least for me, it's a tragedy. And so I want today to be the day that you say, you know what, this is something I'm not just going to think about, I'm not just going to dream about, but I'm actually going to do about. I'm going to do something about it. So if that's you, type today in the chat. Oh my goodness, what a great group. There's almost 100 of us here. Isn't this amazing? Today, I see you, Andrea and Kristen and Stephanie and Amber and Lisa and Sherry and Joyce and Lorianne. Welcome today. Welcome today. Please say hi to Leah. Yes. Hi, Leah. Yes, this really is live. Yeah, I can tell you it is. Well, it's our anniversary, June 29th at 11:11 a.m. Think about your goals, 11:11. Awesome. Yes. Find that chat, hit that chat. If you haven't yet, introduce yourself. Let me know where you're calling in from. And if you haven't, also put your email address in the chat, because I want to make sure I send the recording just to people that are here live with me. Okay, awesome. So today, let's get into the training. We're going to take it slow. We're going to treat our story that like it's sacred, and we're not going to delay anymore. Those are really the 3 agreements before I even start. So we're on the same page. We're on the same. Are we on the same page? Type same page in the chat if we're on the same page. Awesome. We're going to take it slow. We're going to treat our story as the gift that it is. It's sacred, and we're going to be fully present. I love it. Okay. Awesome. I'm so excited to share this with you. This is a brand new presentation that's built really off of 11 years. I've been a full-time writing coach for 11 years. I started Hope Writers with three of my friends back in 2015. We've helped literally thousands of writers, first-time writers, write their story. We've published 128 books now. So this is what we do. You can trust us. This is my life's calling and my mission to help you write your story. So I'm really honored that you're here. Wendy's here, Linda's here, Rita from Iowa is here. Amazing. Aura's here from New York. I'm so glad you're here. Olivia, thank you for your email address. If you haven't put it in the chat. Awesome. So how to write your story. Do you notice I said how to write your hope story? Because I believe that your story is a story of hope. Your story is a story of hope, and that you can turn what you've walked through into hope that someone else can hold. Isn't that cool, Lori from Chicago? Isn't that so cool? So cool. So you have a story, but maybe you've never written it down. And there's somebody that is waiting and wanting to read it. There's someone that's wanting to read your story, but maybe you've never written it down. Let me ask you a really hard question. I'm just going to press in today. I hope that's okay. Like I'm not a fluff guy. I like to go really deep. I hope that's okay. If you're a deep person, type deep in the chat. Like I'm all about going deep. Life is too short to be shallow. And I'm pretty direct because I know that sometimes if it doesn't challenge us, it won't change us. And so I love it. Hey, Deb, your email got cut off. If you just type your full email, I appreciate it. So, imagine today's your last day. Whoa, he went there. Imagine today's your last day. You're not going to go back home because this is your last day. Or if you're at home, this is your last day. And that's it. Today's your last day. And your family, after they go through the funeral and the grieving process and everything, they start looking through your stuff. They look through your safe. They look through your drawers. They look through, things like that. The question I have for you is right now, could your family find your written story somewhere? If they could, type they could in the chat. And if they can't, type they can't in the chat. So if today was your last day, I'm at the office right now, right? So if I get hit by a bus on the way home, and could my wife read Brian's story somewhere? So what about you? They could or they can't. I'm not saying they have to piece it together and do the work for you. I'm saying you did the work. You did the work. Yeah. No, not on your computer, not randomly on Facebook. I'm saying like printed somewhere. Okay. Yeah, they're not going to read 100 journals. Yeah. Okay, they can't. All right. Y'all, that is a moment of truth right there. But here's the cool thing about truth. The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. And so if you wrote your story that your family could read, I believe that that's a legacy. That would leave a legacy for them. What a treasure. What a treasure if you wrote it down, right? But not only your family, because I believe that what you've been through, someone else is going through right now. Do you see that? What you've been through, someone else is going through. So let's say you have a really hard story, a story of loss, a story of failure, maybe a story of trials and setbacks, right? Does anyone have a hard story? If you have a hard story, type hard in the chat. Yeah, hard. Like I have a hard story. There's parts of my story that are really hard. There's a story of rejection. There's a story of betrayal, a story of fear, a story of maybe it's a really hard story like infidelity, or a story of a health challenge. There's a hard story. You might even use the word suffering. If you've been through some suffering, type the word hard in the chat. I've been through some suffering. It's been really hard, right? I see a lot of people saying hard. Like I said, we're going to go deep and we're going to take it slow, right? I'm not here to trick you or anything like that. I'm here to have a conversation. I love it. Man, what an honor to be with you today. Thank you for sharing that, Sabrina and Tina Marie. Mary. Yeah, of course, but God. Absolutely. God works all things together, of course. But yeah, if there's a hard story, just to write hard in the chat. This is a very small commitment that I'm asking of you. I'm asking you. I know there's a few people that haven't typed anything yet because you're sitting on the sidelines just thinking, am I even qualified to be here? He's talking about writing, and I know I've had this story, but I've never even written it down. I don't want you to hear shame. I don't want you to hear blame. Just play the game with me today. Okay? No shame, no blame, just play the game. If you've been sitting on the sidelines of your life looking at everybody else who's writing and publishing, and you've said, I always wanted to write and publish, but I never have, and you haven't gotten in the game, but you know it's time to get in the game, type game in the chat. Game. It's time to play the game. It's time to get in the game. It's time to get in the game. You can't win the game if you don't play the game, right? It's time to get in the game. I'd love to be your coach. Every good player of a game needs a coach. Absolutely. It's time to, yeah, I'll show you the rules and I'll teach you the way. There's a process. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. If your family can't read your story, that's definitely one thing. And I think that would be a tragedy, right? But here's the thing. The hard thing that you've been through, someone else is going through right now. So I'm going to say something really, really difficult. So kind of buckle up a little bit. But I actually believe that your trauma can be a treasure for someone else. That your pain can be a gift for someone else. That the hard lesson that you learned could be a hope story for someone else. If you agree, type agree in the chat. Just type agree. Yeah, our culture celebrates trauma, but God uses all things together. All things, including that. In fact, that is like the gold of your life. That's the buried treasure of your life. And I want to help dig it out with you. So we'll go to a couple of difficult places, but hopefully we have some trust that's been built. I love it. I'm so glad that you're here. You have a story, but maybe you've never written it down and someone needs to read it. Can you imagine if you took the lessons that you shared about that betrayal and someone who's going through that betrayal read your story and didn't feel alone anymore? If you took your story of anxiety or depression or mental health crisis and you wrote that story and someone else read that story and they didn't feel alone anymore, wouldn't that be a gift? Can you see how your story could be a gift for someone else? If you see it, type gift in the chat. It could be such a gift. And even though it felt like a burden when you went through it, it felt like a curse. Man, is that the right word? Yeah, it felt like a curse when I went through it. The disappointment, the rejection, the betrayal, the shame, the fear. If you were to be brave together for a little while and wrote that story, it could be a gift for somebody else who's going through it right now. That's why we're here. It's not to be famous. It's not to make, $1 million writing your book. That's not it. It's to fulfill your calling to be an ambassador of hope. So there's things that keep us from writing. And usually it's not the actual writing. Some people said I have hundreds of journals. So it's not really about the writing part. It might be one of these. One of these. I'm going to give you a 1, 2, and a 3, and I want you to type in the chat, okay? So if this resonates with you, type a 1. The first one is, I'm not really a writer. If you have felt that way before or even right now, type 1 in the chat, just the number 1. I'm not really a writer. I know I have a story, but I'm not really a writer, and that's preventing me from writing my story, okay? I'm not really qualified. I don't have a master's in creative writing, or I'm not a great writer. That's my thing. Like I'm not really a writer. I'm not a skilled writer. I don't feel qualified as a writer. I'm not as good as somebody else as a writer. And that imposter syndrome or that comparison has kept me back from writing. So type a 1 in the chat. I see you, Beverly and Marie and Susan and Becky and so many. Number 2, type a 2 if this is you. My story is just not that interesting. My story is just not that interesting. Like I don't have this crazy jail and addiction and like a crazy story. Like somebody else has that car accident story. Somebody else has that cancer survival story. Somebody else has that marriage rekindled story. But for me, my story is kind of dull or not interesting or just normal. Type a 2 in the chat if that's you. I don't know if anybody would even care about my story. That's number 2. And then type a number 3 if you've started believing the story that it's too late. It's too late. I'm too old. I missed the boat. If it would have been, I would have done it already. So I'm not going to do it. It's just too late for me. Type a 3 in the chat. A one is I'm not really a writer. I don't feel qualified. 2 is I just don't think my story is interesting enough. Or 3 is it feels like it's kind of too late. It kind of feels like it's too late. Yeah. If that's not you, what is it? Name the reason that you haven't written your story. Name it in the chat. I would love to read it. Name the reason. What's held you back from writing your story? What's held you back from putting your story not just on computer, but actually like printing it out or even publishing it? Yeah. Still processing. Yeah. Yeah. Can I tell you like one of the hardest things that I've ever heard to say yes, you can in the chat, if that's okay. One of the hardest things that I've ever heard, but it was some of the best life advice I've ever gotten. Yeah. Okay. This isn't for everybody because this is pretty edgy. Give your trauma a statute of limitations. Do you get it? That's pretty powerful, right? Give your trauma a statute of limitations. What a statute of limitations means is like there's a time frame and then you move forward. Like if there's something from a long, long time ago that you're still replaying, like give yourself a window to say, you know what, 1 more year, and then I need to move on because I can't live the rest of my life back then. Yeah, that's huge. That's not Brian original. I learned that from a mentor of mine, but man, that has really been helpful. I can't replay 2021 every day of my life for the rest of my life. I can't replay 1998 every day of my life for the rest of my life. I need to move on because there's people that need to hear my story. Yeah. Y'all, I'm so glad that you're here. If you're feeling burdened or feeling like this is heavy, I just want you to know maybe that's why it matters, because there's a weight to your story. Your story has value. It has meaning. It's not a quick fix post on social media. It's something that's deeper. It's something that's deeper that really makes a difference for people. So this isn't Brian. This is Bible. I'm a Bible guy. If you're a Bible person, type Bible in the chat. I'm a Bible person. The word of the Lord is living and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. We live in a culture that questions the Bible. I want to be the person that follows the Bible. So I'm a Bible guy. I'm unapologetically a Bible guy. And if that means, we're not a fit for you, totally understand, not throwing shade at you. But I just think that it's better to build my life on the Bible than to build my life on Brian. So one of my favorite verses in the Bible, yeah, a lot of Bible people here, I'm so glad that you're here, is Romans 5:3-5. Romans 5:3-5. So there's a framework that Paul shares in Romans 5:3-5. Yeah, I'm so glad that you all are here. Even if you're not a Bible person, you are welcome. I'm grateful for you, and I believe that you have a story. So Paul talks about in Romans 5:3-5, rejoice in your suffering because suffering produces endurance. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame. Isn't that good news? Type good news in the chat if that is good news for you. That is good news. That's good news that I need to hear every day. Every day, right? Rejoice in your suffering because we know that suffering produces endurance. Endurance produces character. Character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame. And if you've been living in shame, go back to the suffering and look at it as the gift of good news, the gift of hope. Yes, so good. It's good news. It's good news. So here is the way to write your story. This is the gold right here, my friends. And this is not, again, this is not Brian. It's funny because for 11 years, I've been coaching Hope writers and helping writers just like you figure out your story. Because when you figure out your story, then you can tell your story. And when you tell your story, then you can publish your story. And when you publish your story, then someone can read your story. And I believe that's why we're here. We are here to share the hope that we have with others. That's why we're here, not for ourselves, but to share the hope that we have with others. But one thing that I didn't discover until, I think it was October. So it's been less than a year. As I was reading through scripture, I got to a point in Romans, and I was reading this. I went, wait a second. This is actually like the story framework that we've been teaching at Hope Writers for years and years. It's just not original with us, right? Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun. This is one of those nothing new under the sun. But when we look at it with a fresh perspective, we can maybe see things a little differently. Okay. So what I want to do is walk you through this process together. So take out your something to write with. Maybe you have a journal with you, or you need to go grab one real quick, a piece of paper. I like the tactile writing. I do have an iPad with the pencil that I can write on, but some sort of writing it. I think it's even more powerful writing it, handwriting it than typing it. My background is in education. I have a doctoral degree in educational technology. And so I studied a lot of brain science, and there's something powerful about the neuroconnections when we handwrite. And so I want to challenge you to do that, to handwrite. And I'm going to walk you through the 4 parts, okay? I'm going to walk you through the 4 parts. So part number one is the suffering. So the question, when it comes to the suffering, are y'all with me? Type with you in the chat. I'm with you. Just type I'm with you in the chat. Yeah. I know. I just felt this, just the weight of what we're about to go, where we're about to go. And I just wanted to pause. Yeah. Okay, good. You're with me. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, good. Okay. So the first part of your story might be the most surprising part. The first part of telling your story is not to give the happy, shiny, God is good and life is awesome version. Of course, God is good. But at least Bible guy, like in this world, we will have troubles of many kinds, right? We will have troubles of many kinds. And so you have had trouble in your life, right? You have had trouble. You have had suffering that you've walked through. What I want to encourage you to do is to pick one and to name it in the chat. Pick one hard thing that you faced. One thing, one hard suffering that now you don't have to go into all the details, but just to name it. Was it rejection at work? Was it betrayal by a friend? Was it disappointment in parenting teenagers? Was it a health challenge? Was it a mental health related issue? Was it losing somebody that you love? A disappointment, a betrayal, a rejection? You're like, Brian, why are we going here? Well, it's not the end of the story, but it is where it kind of starts, right? Yeah, Alicia, play along with this. Pick one, not all. You might have all, but we're just going to pick one today, okay? We're just going to pick one. I'm so glad that you're here. We're just going to pick one. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you, Alicia. Appreciate you. Okay, first of all, I just want y'all to know, like, thank you for your willingness to share. Thank you for your willingness to type. I know there's a number of people that haven't, and I just want to encourage you. Let's be brave together. Name that just one thing. I'm sure there's many. I could find 3 from yesterday, right? Just naming one in the chat. Yeah, just naming one. And you can be vague if you feel like you need to be vague. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Kristen and Victoria. Amazing. How do you choose, right? I think you pray over it. If any of us lacks wisdom, pray and the Lord will give it. Right? That's from the Bible. So just pray and just say, Lord, what is something I've been through that I could potentially write about? There you go. Yeah, what's one hard thing? Okay. That's the suffering. So name it. Name that one thing. Man, there's so many that come to mind, right? It is hard to choose, right? Is anyone having a tough time choosing? Just say tough time in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Okay, I want to give a little extra coaching today. Like I said, we're going to slow down and we're going to take our time to really be together. So, not in a hurry. If you had to choose, which I'm asking you to do, if you had to choose, pick something in the last 2 to 3 years that you've overcome. You're not going through it anymore, but it happened at least, a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. So it's right now 2026, June 29, 2026. So 2023, 2022, 2024, something like that. Okay. A couple of years ago. Yeah, just name one. Yeah, just name one. So just one thing. Okay. So look at that thing that you typed, or if you're writing it down, I appreciate if you're writing it down, that thing that you wrote. Okay. Barbara said she can't hear me. If you can still hear me, say, I hear you in the chat, because I think I'm still working. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. You're good. So here's the thing, my friend, that suffering that you've been through, actually made something. It didn't kill you because you're here live with me right now. So it produced endurance. What that there's a you didn't quit. You're still here and you grew from that experience. It produced endurance. That there are steps that you took, and there are new beliefs that you have as a result of that suffering. If you agree, type true in the chat. Because of that suffering that you went through, you grew. You grew in your endurance. You got stronger. You got maybe a little bit wiser, more disciplined, maybe a little bit more cautious. But that was part of what you needed. That you built this endurance. God working through you, right in you, built this endurance, and as a result, something changed in you. Okay, so that endurance. That's where we're going to park for just a second. That's number 2. You can see I have it numbered right on my screen. 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 1 was, what's that hard thing? Number 2 is, what's one step you took or one belief that you embraced that was different because of the suffering? Type that in the chat. What's one step that you took, one action step that you took because of the suffering? Or what's one belief, one insight, one new revelation, new knowledge, new experience that you had after the suffering? So, for example, I was in a life-changing car accident, and because of the suffering of the car accident, the endurance is I treat every day like it's a new beginning. Every day like a Monday, and every month like a January. I really live with this urgency to make the most of every day, and it really removed a lot of the shallowness from my life because of my life-changing car accident. So even though I went through a hard time with the suffering of the accident and the repercussions of it, it changed the way that I approach life. I love it. Yeah, I'm so grateful for what y'all are typing in the chat. So good. So good. I love the encouragement as well. So what's one thing that changed in your life? Yeah, you were bolder about sharing Jesus with your kids. You started praying more, reading the Bible more, I see. I seize the day. I treat every day like a gift, Becky says. I continually listen to God's word, Kristen says. Lisa said, I realized that God is with me through the suffering. That's so good. I'm so proud of you. Lori said, I went to therapy. Like that is a step, right? That's a step. So we have the suffering and then we have the step or the endurance. Now, here's the really cool thing, my friends. Here's the really cool thing. It changed you as a person. It created character in you. You became a new character, like a new creation, a new person. It built character in you. God formed a new you in you. He called you to something new and maybe bigger and exciting because of how you grew, right? So here's what I want you to see. And a lot of the first time writers I work with don't see this. So I want to speak this over you. Who who you are today is not who you were back then. Who you are today is not who you were back then. Do you see it? Type I see it if you see it in the chat. I see it. Who you are today is not who you were back then. I see it. I see it. Thank the Lord for growth, right? Who you were today is not who you were back then. Now, here's what you might not see. There are people right now on Instagram, on Facebook, in the bookstore, on Amazon that are looking for a leader. They're looking for hope. They're looking for a coach. They're looking for a guide. They're looking for direction. I would use the word teacher. They're looking for a teacher. They're looking for someone who has experienced the suffering that they're experiencing right now. But that teacher didn't quit. That teacher endured and became the teacher, became the character that they can look up to and learn from. And I want you to know that you are a teacher. Type I am a teacher in the chat. I am a teacher. I am a teacher. The suffering, the endurance, the character has led you to this point of being able to teach what you've learned. And it's not really about being a writer, it's about being a teacher. Do you get it? And I'm not just talking about like a career, I'm saying like about that issue, that suffering. You are now a teacher of that because you lived it. Your experience is your certification. You don't have to go get a master's degree or some sort of somebody giving you approval and now you have a certificate. No, it's your experience. What you've lived through has qualified you, especially my Christian sisters, Christian women who often feel unqualified to teach. I wanted to say to you, you do have a story that needs to be shared. If you needed to hear that, say, I needed that in the chat. I needed that. Type, I needed that if that's what you needed to hear. There are people right now that are going through that suffering, the suffering that you endured, the suffering that led to the character, and yet you're not embracing your identity as a teacher. I believe that you teaching what you've learned is one of the kindest gifts you can give to somebody else. And you know what we call that? We call that hope. Type hope in the chat if you're with me. We call that hope. That is hope, my friends. That is hope. Hope is rejoicing in the suffering. Hope is seeing that he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Hope is seeing that my trauma is a treasure. Hope is seeing that my story is not for me. It's not even for my family. It's for that woman who is suffering right now. That woman who is suffering right now is the one who needs me to be brave. She needs me to be brave so she can get through her hard story. You know what we call that person? My reader. I'm going to really challenge you here. I want you to type in the chat, my reader needs me to be brave. My reader needs me to be brave. My reader is just like me. 3 years ago, 5 years ago, she's going through that hard divorce that I went through. She's going through that health challenge that I went through. She's going through that questioning God's word like I went through. She's going through suffering like I went through. And my reader needs me to be brave. My reader needs me to be brave. Because those other reasons we talked about, feeling unqualified, or I can go back to that slide, feeling unqualified, or that your story is not interesting, or that it's too late for me. You know what that all is? That's just fear. It's just fear. If you've been afraid of sharing your story, type fear in the chat. Fear. It's been fear. I'm afraid what my parents will think of me. I'm afraid of what my kids will think of me. I'm afraid of what my sister-in-law will think of me. I'm afraid of what my uncle will say if I write my story. I'm afraid that if I share my story, that somebody will judge me on social media. I'm afraid that I'm not qualified. I'm afraid that I don't have the right words to say. I'm afraid that it's going to cost too much. I'm afraid that I'm not going to finish. I'm afraid that it's going to take me away from my family. I've heard these fears. I'm afraid that if I start, I won't finish. And then he'll say, well, you never finished anything anyway, so why would you finish this one? I'm afraid of what he'll think. I'm afraid of what she'll think. I'm afraid of getting to the judgment seat and hearing, not well done, good and faithful servant, but I gave you so much, you didn't do anything with it. I wasn't a good steward. Y'all, you can choose your fear of God or fear of man. I choose fear of God. And it's not even fear, it's reverence. I want to make the most of this life. I want to make the most of this opportunity that I have. And I think that means dying to yourself and saying, you know what? Even though I'm afraid, I'm still going to go. If that's you and you know you need to go, type go in the chat. Even though I'm afraid, I need to go. I need to go. Because if I don't go, she's not going to hear my story. If I don't go, she's still going to be stuck where I was stuck. Friends, if you write your story, you can help skip a decade in a day. The decade of suffering that you went through, she's in it right now, but you could help her get unstuck. That's what it means to love your neighbor. That's what it means, right? About face and go. Let's go. Let's go. Here's the cool thing. Imagine if you could send a letter. Imagine if you could send a letter back to yourself when you were going through the suffering. And you could say, dear 2023, Alicia, I have some good news. You make it. Here's what I did. Here's the endurance. Here's who I am now. Here's the character. Imagine if you could send a letter back to yourself. Wouldn't that be so cool? Type so cool in the chat. Like, wouldn't that be so cool if you could write a letter to back then to say, you know what? I know your world is crumbling all around you, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay because God is good. You're going to learn to pray. You're going to learn to lean in on the church. You're going to learn to say sorry. You're going to learn to forgive. Like, there's so much that you're going to learn. You're going to endure, and that's going to produce character. And if you could write a letter back to yourself, that would be such a good gift. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way. But what you can do is you can write for someone else who's suffering right now. It's time to write. Right now. WRITENOW. Type that in the chat if this is what you needed to hear right now. WRITE. Right now. It's time right now. The time to write is now. Right now. Do you get it? Right now. Anytime people had an excuse to Jesus, because I'm a Bible guy, right? When they brought an excuse to him, he knew how to cut through the excuse. And so if you have a reason that's holding you back from writing, maybe the reason is actually an excuse. Like Jesus said, somebody said, I want to follow you, but I have to bury my dad. And Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. And you're like, what? That's so cruel. Jesus, I thought you're supposed to be kind. He was calling their bluff. He was saying that's an excuse. The rich young ruler, he's like, I want to follow you. And Jesus said, well, sell all your stuff. We don't have to sell all our stuff. The point was, what's your excuse? He's really good at calling out that excuse. The woman at the well, she was asking him all kinds of technical questions. Said, wait a second. He calls out the excuse. And so if you're the kind of person that has had excuse after excuse after excuse to not write, but you know you need to write now, type the word excuse in the chat. Excuse. It's all been an excuse. I know it's a weird word to type, right? Excuse. It might be fear, it might be money, it might be time, it might be family, it might be all these things, but really, it's all just been a big excuse. Excuse not to write. Shelly's like, excuse me. I agree. I agree. The time is now. The time is now. So now you have this story. We've spent 47 minutes together. I would love to work with you and be your coach because this is the appetizer, right? This is the appetizer. There's only so much I can deliver in a live call like this. So right now you have a framework of your story. I'm going to show you one more time if you need to take a screenshot. When you write your story, you start with suffering. You don't start with the hope. You start with the suffering. What was the hardest day? I heard the crumpling glass. Boom, right? The door slammed, and that was the last time I'd ever speak to him again. I checked the mail, and as I opened the mailbox, what I saw completely shocked me. That's your suffering. Endurance is what you did next, and then next, and then next. Those are the steps. Character is who you became as a result, which is the teacher. The hope is your decision to share. So that's your framework. I've given you the framework that I said I would, right? How to write your story. That's how you write your story. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 4 kind of blanks you fill in. Okay. The question is, what do you do next? What do you do next? So now that you have your story, what do you do with it? Do you want to know the answer? Type a question mark if you want to know the answer. Do you want to know the answer, what you do with this story? You want to know the answer? Here it is. I'm going to give you a couple options. Okay. Was anybody like a preacher's kid, or did you grow up in the church? Did you go to like Vacation Bible School, VBS? Did you grow up going to Sunday school? I'm kind of probably going to date myself right here, right? Yeah. Okay. This little light of mine, I'm going to some of y'all know that. There it is. You can hide or you can shine. That's it. I can't turn your light on for you. I can't. I can show you how to do it, but you have to click it, right? You can hide or you can shine. If you've been hiding from that light of sharing your story, right? We're called to be salt and light, okay? So this is totally biblical. If you've been hiding from shining your light, type hide in the chat. I've been hiding. I've been hiding behind excuses of I'm not qualified, or I don't know the technology, or don't have any money, or don't have any time, or my story's not good enough, or I'm afraid, or my husband doesn't feel like I should be a writer. Like there's all sorts of things. If you've been hiding, type hiding in the chat. Just I've been hiding. I've been hiding. I want to play some hide and seek with you. I found you. You're here. You matter and you're here. And so what do? You shine. It's time to shine. It's time to shine your light. Now, I believe that the best way to shine your light, the best way to share your story is to publish your story, not to just put it in a journal and hide it for your family to see one day, or to put it on your computer, or even on social media. Social media goes away. Remember MySpace? Like social media goes away. Google Plus, Vine, like social media goes away. There will be one day when we won't have Facebook anymore, believe it or not. Like we will outlast Facebook. I really believe that. Okay. Fortunately. So, but the one thing that we won't outlast is books. Books. We're not going to outlast books, because here's the thing. Let me share a little story real quick. Actually, you know what? Not real quick, because I told you I'm not in a hurry today. Okay. This man right here, George T. Stevens, is my wife. Our 24-year anniversary today. Okay. So my wife, Julie, this is her great grandfather. He was a traveling evangelist and he would preach the gospel. I've never met him. I've never heard a recording of him. He didn't have social media, but somewhere along the way, he wrote a book. He wrote a book. This book was published. Ready for this? 1961. 1961. It's now 2026. What's the math on that? 65 years. Type 65 years in the chat. Can you imagine, my friends? Can you imagine in 65 years, because you were brave today, someone could pick up your story because you published it? 65 years from now. I mean, we think about today and tomorrow and next week, but 65 years from now, because he was faithful to write his story down, I, as his great grandfather, great grandson-in-law, have read that book. That's so powerful. 65 years. So the answer is publish. The answer is publish. Okay. I want to walk you through 3 ways we can publish your story: coaching you, editing your story, and publishing your story in a real book. Would it be okay if I take a couple minutes? Is it okay if I take a couple minutes to show you the 3 different ways we can publish your story? Just type okay in the chat. Is that okay? Okay. What I want you to listen for as I do this is which one makes sense for you. Okay. Which one there's like 3 levels I want to walk you through. I'm also going to give you a bonus at the end. So I really appreciate you being here. And like I said, I'm not in a hurry, but I know there's an urgency to writing your story because there's readers that need your story right now. Okay. So there's 3 ways, and I don't hide anything. There's an investment because we have tuition because it's like a course and a coaching program. Okay. So you get the training and the support. We have editors, designers. I mean, there's a whole team effort, right? So there's nothing free. This was free training, and I hope you got some good value. If you got value today, type value in the chat, okay? Did you get some value from today's training? Was this helpful for you? Okay, awesome. So as a return of value, because we didn't charge for this training at all, I want to show you the 3 different levels of how we can publish your story. The first one is as a devotional entry, which is 1 page. 1 page. The second one is what's called a collaboration, which is a chapter. And the third one is Hope Books Essentials, which is a book. So those are the 3 options. Those are the 3 options. Can I just say one thing real quick? There's 2 people that just jumped off. I'm not going to be offended, but isn't it just so interesting that there are always people in our life that don't treasure when people don't pay, they don't pay attention, right? And so after 55 minutes of training, it's like, as soon as I say, here's your next step, it's like, bye. Don't be that person. Give your story the value that it's worth. What if you did publish it? What if you published it? So these are the 3 options, right? You with me? Okay. So the first one is $197 for 1 devotional day, or $297 for 2 devotional days. And what you do is you take that story that I just walked you through, suffering, endurance, character, and hope, and you write it as a 1-page devotional. Okay, so that's option number 1. That's a 1 page, right? If that's you and you're like, I think that's what I'm ready for, that's like door number 1, 1 page, just type 1 page in the chat. Just type 1 page. I'm like, I think I want to be published, but I'm not ready for like a whole book. I just 1 page. Okay, now real quick, this book, Year of Hope, we're half filled right now. So you'd have this book done and in your hand by Christmas. So can you imagine at Christmas handing a copy of a devotional book to your mom, to your sister, to your daughter, and saying, here you go, honey, here's one of your Christmas presents. It's a 365-day devotional. But guess what? your story is in that book. Wouldn't that be amazing? Your story would be in that book. Isn't that amazing? So that's for some of you. If that's for you, type 1 page in the chat. That's like, I would have 1 page published. Awesome. Okay. Number two is what we call a Hope Story collaboration. So this is where you take your story, but not just 1 page, it's a full chapter. You work in a small group of other authors, 10 authors total. We call that a collaboration. So you write a full chapter. It's about 2,000 to 3,000 words. It takes about 3 months total. The book comes out about 4 months later. So we have a couple spots for October and November. The book would come out in October or November, right? And you can see it's a cohort of authors. So you in a small group with authors. Your group gets to vote on the title of the book and the cover of the book. So that's the collaboration part. You also have an Amazon author portal because you're a published author now in a collaborative book. And we even host a live launch party here at our publishing headquarters. It's a bigger investment. It's $297, 4 payments of $297. And that's a chapter. So if that's like for you, you're like, you know what, that'd be really cool. I work with 10 other authors and I write a whole chapter, which is like really, you have the space in the pages to write your story because it's 2,000 to 3,000 words. Just type chapter in the chat. You would write a chapter. You're not writing on a whole book. It's really fun. Yeah, we have a big launch party. We take you out to dinner. We record a podcast. We have a live stream. It's really, really fun. We've actually had over 350 authors have done the Hope Books collaboration process, which is really, really fun. Okay, so that's option number 2. Just type chapter if that sounds good to you. Okay, and then option number 3 is a full book, and we call that Hope Books Essentials. And if you already know, you're like, I know I need to write a whole book, type full book in the chat, a full book. Now, I want to just show you what this looks like. We call it Hope Books Essentials because it's just the important things and not any of the extra. If you go on YouTube or you go on Substack or you go on TikTok or Instagram, there's a lot of people giving you advice about writing a book, but we just give you the most important parts of the process. We have weekly coaching calls, a private online community. We have step-by-step training with a project management system, and our editors edit your book. Our designer designs your cover. It's beautiful. And we even host you to launch your book. So that starts at $297. That's our 48 payment plan. There's other options available as well. But if for you, that's full book, type full book in the chat. Right? Type full book in the chat. Awesome. So those are the 3 options. See, we built Hope Books around one core idea, and that's faithful over famous. Faithful over famous. So what I want to do is give you 2 things, and then I want to tell you a story. First, I want to give you the links to these options. Okay? Here we go. All right. The first option, some of you were like, I know I want to do the 1 page. If you know that the 1 page is for you, the page that you go to is Hope Books Collections. And I'm going to show you that page right here. Okay. HopeBooksCollections.com. I'm going to put that in the chat. Awesome. So this is 1 page, and go ahead and click on that. HopeBooksCollections.com. Okay. If you're like, I really just want to write a chapter and do the big launch party Brian was talking about, that is called collaborations. And I'm going to put that link in the chat right here. Okay. That's the chapter. There we go. And then finally, if you're like, I really want to do a full book, then this is the link for you right here, full book. And I have a really cool bonus. So don't hop off because I got something really cool to tell you about in a second. Okay. Those are your 3 links. Hope Books Collections is 1 page. Hope Books chapter is the second. And then the full book is the 3rd link. Okay, you got the links in the chat there? Awesome. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you, a story. I hope this has been good for you so far. Has this been helpful? Type helpful if this has been helpful in the chat. This has been helpful. Yeah, our low is 197. So if you're here likely in America and you have Zoom, you probably have a credit card. So if you put it on a credit card, 197, and pay it off over a couple months, it's like, you know what, $20, $30 a month. It really gets low. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell you a story of a retreat that we hosted. Okay. Let's see. Oh, she's having trouble getting in. Okay. Um, Let me see what I can do here. Okay. Because they've got a call right here. Okay. Not sure. Um, have you ever dreamed of becoming a published author, had this really big goal, and yet it didn't work out the way you wanted it to? We hosted a retreat back in 2021 where we worked with authors through about a 9-month process. And in September, we helped them create a book proposal. And we got really excited about these authors presenting their book proposal to a traditional publisher, a publisher that you would know the name of if I said it. And so we coached them, my friends and I that ran Hope Writers at the time. We put them, help get this all set up, and our members, one at a time, went and pitched their book idea to an editor, and we got so excited about them getting published. And what happened is one after one after one got rejected, every single one. And what I realized in that moment is that we need to start something called Hope Books, because Hope Books is about faithful over famous. I believe that you are qualified to tell your story, even if you don't have a big following, even if you don't have a powerful, life-changing story, that you're qualified because there's somebody that needs to read your story. So that's why we created Hope Books, because we really believe in faithful over famous. So here are your 3 options. Number 1, you can get famous and work with a traditional publisher who pays for everything. Number 2, you could do it all yourself, figure it out all yourself, be a self-published author and do it all yourself. Or number 3, you could give us a try. You could work with Hope Books. You work with Hope Books. See, Hope Books, we're built different. We focus on community first. We have a step-by-step process, and it's a faith-based community. There's a lot of communities out there, but we're a faith-based community, a faith-based company. So here's your 2 options. Option number 1 is to click on one of the links in the chat. I'm going to put those links one more time, okay? Click on those links in the chat. So the first one is the one page, and that link is right here, one page. Awesome. Then a chapter, and here's that link. Collaborations, boom. And then a full book. Okay. So if you sign up for one of those today, yeah, those should all work. If you sign up for one of those today, I will do a bonus one-on-one coaching call with you. Okay? If you sign up for one of those today, I will do a bonus one-on-one coaching call with you. So that's my bonus for you. Isn't that cool? I would love to meet with you on Zoom, help you get clarity. I want to hear your story. I know there's like 80 of you on the call right now. So if you sign up for one of those today, I'll do a bonus coaching call with you, but you have to sign up today. Okay? Actually, I'm going to give a shorter deadline. Just sign up by 5 today. At 5 o'clock before I leave the office, I'm just going to pull a list of everybody who signed up. Okay? Option number 2 is our team would love to talk with you and create your personalized writing plan. Our team would love to work with you to create a personalized writing plan. And all you need to do is just book a call. So here's how it works. Okay, you go to this link right here, right there, and book a time to talk to Sarah or Carly, and they're going to walk through a little 10-step question. Just these 10 questions. They're going to ask you about your story, ask you about your writing, and they're going to present the best recommendation for you for your next step. So those are your 2 options, okay? Number 1 is click on one of the links and sign up today and get that bonus coaching call. Or number 2, if you're not sure, We're planning on charging $27 for this personalized writing plan, but I wanted to give it to you as a bonus because you stayed with me over an hour. Is that a good deal? Type deal if that's a good deal in the chat. That's a good deal, right? So our team would love to talk with you, create your personalized writing plan, asking you 10 questions, having a conversation. It takes about 20 minutes. Okay. So let me put that link one more time in the chat right there. hopebooks.com/call. Book the call, and our team will work on your personalized writing plan, or click on one of those links to sign up. Awesome. Y'all, it's been such a privilege and a pleasure to be with you. I know that this is your moment, that your story matters, and that your hope is for somebody that's still in it, that you writing your story really matters.